Today I'm going to talk about how to do the mesh transformation in Blender. If you don't know or you have no idea about the mesh transformation, you can just go ahead to take a look at my last video. So let's get it started. So first of all, we need to import the Blender Python first. So it will be like import bpy. And then we need to think about what to do next. So let me create another new object first and then clean up the screen a bit. Just to in order to do the simple mesh transformation coding script, we need to do is to create a list to include all selected meshes. Second will be create a variables or string variables to represent the last item of the selected meshes. So basically, this is the main things we need to do now. So in order to create a list to include all the selected meshes, we need to do something like, let's get the name of the list, like mesh list equals to bpy context selected objects. So if you print the list now, it won't have anything to show. It's mainly because you didn't select anything, any geometry or meshes. So if you select the meshes and you execute the code again, it will show two objects like the cube and spheres. Oh, and then we need to create a string variables to represent the last item of the selected meshes. So I will call it a reference object because it's the one we need to get the reference data from the transform attribute forms and then apply to become the actual object, the new transform attribute of the actual objects. So reference objects, or I call it ref objects, equals to bpy context active objects. So once I print the reference object, and let me comment the print mesh list out first, and I execute the code, it will show that the spheres is the active object of the selections. So it is a bit weird in Blender because if you select just select one object and print out, it will show the cube. But if you select more than one, like if you select two objects, the last object will become the only one who is active. So you can see that. And then, oh, sorry. Accidentally delete the objects. We can just comment this one out. And then next thing we're gonna do is to get all the location of the main objects and the reference objects. Get the location of the main objects and get the location of the reference object. So basically, the first object is the index number 0 of the mesh list, right? So we can say something like I call it the child object or main object is the mesh 0. So when we print out the main object, it will show the cube. And actually we can do it all together. So this one could be like get the main object, and we can try to get the location of the reference objects to become the new location of the main objects. So what we can do now is main object location number 0, which is translate x equals to reference objects location 0, which is the translate x. I can say here translate x, and so on. Once we execute the code, the cube will copy the data from the translate data from the spheres to become his new location. So basically, this is how the mesh transformation works in Blender and how you can do it in Blender. For the coding, for the plugin that I create in to demonstrate the mesh transformation toolkit, it will also in my Git. It will be also posted in my GitHub. So as it is way too long, I mean, the coding is way just too abstract to explain. So, or it's just too time consuming to explain. So I just finish it for I just finished it by hand before I recorded these videos. So basically, what I did is I create a panel for the toolkits, create an operator for these toolkits. So I have different classes. One is to match all the transformation, match translation, match rotation, and match scales. So I do something differently with this kind of code. So, but the idea is the same. So I actually do the mesh list for including all the selected objects. Find which mesh with the object who is active. The last item of the selection list. But for more innovative coding, I removed the parents objects because I don't want to do the for I in range mesh lane mesh list -1. So it's just the personal preferences. You can do it if you want. I also do something like XYZ like laying the object location. So basically I count how many numbers, how many variables, string variables inside the location list. So I do to loop here. So I loop through my child objects in the mesh list. And I also loop the XYZ, the location objects, so that I can get all the location values like translate X, translate Y, translate Z. And but for common sense, I also use this use this number of index to also apply it on the rotation and scales, because they all have the free strange variable XYZ. So basically translation, rotation, and scales is happen to be the same theories. So if you feel lost or don't really understand the whole thing, you can feel free to comment below, or you can just try to dig into the code that I put it in the GitHub. So thank you.